Many people spend their whole lives chasing the perfect relationship. They believe that if they find the right partner, the right level of love, the right amount of attention, then the feeling of emptiness inside will disappear. Yet over and over again, they end up in the same place, disappointed, restless, wondering why the joy fades. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists in history, understood this problem better than most. He believed that the emptiness people feel in relationships comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of where true fulfillment comes from. Most people treat relationships as a way to fill the gaps inside themselves. They think, if I find someone who loves me enough, I'll finally feel complete. But Jung argued that no other person can give you a stable sense of meaning or self-worth. The reason is simple: the deeper part of you that feels incomplete has nothing to do with other people. It has to do with your own relationship to yourself. Without confronting that inner void, every connection will eventually feel hollow, no matter how much love is there at first. When you depend on someone else to make you feel whole, you put an impossible burden on them. In the beginning, their affection might feel like it's working. They compliment you, they make you laugh, they show you attention. But over time, they can't sustain the constant validation you crave. They get tired, distracted, or simply start acting like a normal person instead of the fantasy you built in your head. When this happens, the emptiness you thought was gone comes rushing back. Then you blame the relationship, or you blame them, when the real problem was always inside you. Jung talked about the idea of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we don't want to see or admit exist. Often, emptiness in relationships is a result of ignoring our own shadow. We hope that by being loved, our darker, weaker, or more insecure parts will magically disappear. But love doesn't erase the shadow. It can even make it more obvious, because intimacy brings those hidden parts closer to the surface. That's why relationships can feel thrilling at first but unsettling later. You can't run from yourself forever, even with someone holding your hand. Religion often deepens this problem. Many faiths teach that you are incomplete without a partner, or that your worth comes from fulfilling a divine role as a spouse or parent. They tell you that loneliness is solved by obedience to a set of sacred rules about love and marriage. But these promises rarely hold up in reality. Marriages arranged under these ideas often still end in dissatisfaction, because the real hunger inside people isn't for a person, it's for a deeper connection to themselves. Religion encourages you to seek meaning outside yourself, in God, in another person, in a fixed moral structure. Jung believed that lasting meaning could only come from turning inward, facing your inner chaos, and integrating it into a whole self. No partner or belief system can do that for you. Statistics on modern relationships show how widespread this emptiness is. In one global survey, over 50% of people in long-term relationships admitted to feeling lonely or emotionally disconnected from their partner at least once a week. This isn't because all those people picked the wrong person. It's because they never learned to face the root cause of their discontent. Society pushes the idea that finding the one is the answer, but time and again, people discover that the high of romantic love fades, and they are left with the same inner restlessness they had before. Real life provides endless examples. Someone spends years dreaming about marriage. They finally meet someone wonderful, get married, and for a while it feels like paradise. But a few years later, they feel trapped, unsatisfied, and restless. They might think they fell out of love. In truth, they never solved. Projection is one of the biggest reasons relationships fail. Jung explained that we often project our own unmet desires and unresolved wounds onto others. At first, this makes us feel bonded. The other person seems like the answer to our hidden needs. But when reality doesn't match the projection, disappointment sets in. If we refuse to take back those projections and deal with them ourselves, we either move on to another person or stay stuck in dissatisfaction. This is why some people go through partner after partner, always chasing the next high and never finding peace. Another trap is the belief that selflessness will protect you from this emptiness. People think that if they just give more, sacrifice more, and focus entirely on their partner's needs, the relationship will feel fulfilling. But constant self-sacrifice without self-awareness doesn't create connection, it breeds resentment. It's a way of avoiding your own inner work by hiding behind service to others. In the end, you feel used, unappreciated, and emotionally drained. Jung believed that the healthiest relationships are between two individuals who have each faced themselves honestly. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect before you love someone, but it does mean you can't expect them to solve your unresolved pain. If you can be comfortable with yourself, your partner's affection becomes a gift rather than a necessity. When you don't need someone to fill your emptiness, you can actually appreciate them for who they are, instead of what you want them to fix in you. The culture around us constantly reinforces the opposite idea. Movies, music, and even religious teachings celebrate the belief that someone else will complete you. That's a dangerous myth. Completion comes from integration of the self, from accepting the parts of you that scare you, from developing your own values instead of borrowing them from an external authority, and from building a life that reflects your authentic nature. Only then can love enhance your life instead of becoming a crutch. Many people avoid this inner work because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront insecurities, failures, and contradictions in your character. Religion often steps in to offer a shortcut: pray more, follow certain rules, have faith that God will heal your heart. But relying on these methods without self-examination is like putting a bandage on an untreated wound. It covers the problem without curing it. Jung saw the human psyche as something that must be explored directly, not bypassed with faith or external fixes. Even in long-term, seemingly happy relationships, the emptiness can remain hidden for years before it erupts. This is why some people suddenly leave a marriage after decades, shocking everyone around them. The issue was never just the relationship, it was an inner disconnection that finally became too loud to ignore. Jung warned that ignoring your inner life doesn't make it disappear. It builds pressure until it breaks through, often in ways that damage the relationships you care about most. That if you truly want to stop feeling empty in relationships, you have to turn your focus inward. Not in a selfish, self-absorbed way, but in a way that honors your need to understand yourself. Ask hard questions. What am I afraid to admit about myself? Where am I pretending to be someone I'm not just to keep this relationship stable? What values do I hold that are truly mine, and which ones did I inherit from religion, culture, or family without ever questioning them? These questions are uncomfortable because they threaten the stories we tell ourselves. But they are the doorway to the kind of wholeness that no partner can give you. Jung's approach can feel almost cold to people who are used to romantic ideals. He doesn't promise that love will fix you. He says love will challenge you. A good partner won't fill your emptiness, they will mirror it back to you, forcing you to see what you've been avoiding. If you run from that mirror, you'll keep repeating the same cycle with new people. If you face it, the relationship becomes a path to growth rather than a desperate attempt to avoid loneliness. The truth is, you will always feel some form of emptiness in relationships if you haven't built a solid relationship with yourself. No amount of affection, attention, or shared experiences will change that. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can start doing the work that actually leads to fulfillment. That work is not glamorous. It doesn't make for a Hollywood love story. But it's the only way to create connections that are based on choice and love, not on need and fear. Religion tells you to seek salvation in something outside yourself. Jung tells you to seek integration within yourself. One promises comfort, the other demands courage. But only one will keep you from feeling hollow when the honeymoon phase ends. Love can be beautiful, but only when you stop asking it to do a job it was never designed to do.